Have you ever wondered how one single event could ripple through time, touching lives generations later? Today, we're going to journey back to World War II, not just to look at the battles and the grand strategies, but to uncover the deeply personal stories and the lasting legacy it left on our world, our families, and even on us. This isn't just history. It's a story of human resilience, heartbreaking loss, and the unshakable spirit that defines us. Let's start by painting a picture. It's the late 1930s. The world is teetering on the edge of a cliff. In Germany, a charismatic leader has risen, promising to restore national pride. In Japan, an empire is expanding its reach across Asia. Tensions are simmering. Alliances are shifting, and ordinary people, from London to Leningrad, from Shanghai to San Francisco, are holding their breath, unaware that their lives are about to be turned upside down. The spark that lit the flame was the invasion of Poland in September 1939. Suddenly, the world was at war. But for many, the reality didn't sink in overnight. It was a slow creep of fear and uncertainty. Imagine being a young man in a small American town, hearing news of a distant war on the radio. It feels a world away. Then comes December 7th, 1941. Pearl Harbor is attacked. Overnight, that distant war is at your front door. Posters go up calling for enlistment. Your friends, your brothers, your neighbors are all signing up. The choice becomes not if, but when. On the other side of the world, a family in Warsaw huddles in their basement, listening to the drone of bombers overhead. Their city, once vibrant and full of life, is being reduced to rubble. Their world has shrunk to the size of that dark, damp cellar. Survival is measured not in years or months, but from one moment to the next. This was the dual reality of the war. For some, it was a call to adventure and duty. For others, it was a desperate struggle for existence. The war machine kicked into high gear, and it changed society in ways no one could have predicted. With millions of men shipped off to fight, who was left to build the planes, the tanks, the ships, the women? Rosie the Riveter wasn't just a poster. She was a real person, multiplied by millions. Women flocked to factories, taking on jobs that were once considered men's work. They proved they were not just capable, but indispensable. This was a monumental shift. It planted the seeds for the women's rights movements that would flourish in the decades to follow. The war, in its destructive fury, accidentally became a catalyst for social liberation. And what about science and technology? The pressure of war accelerates innovation at a breathtaking pace. Radar, jet engines, penicillin, and of course the atomic bomb. These weren't just inventions, they were game changers. Penicillin saved countless lives from infections that would have been a death sentence just years earlier. Radar gave the Allies a crucial edge in the air and at sea. The atomic bomb, however, cast a long, dark shadow. Its creation was a triumph of human intellect, but its use on Hiroshima and Nagasaki introduced a new kind of existential dread to the world. Knowledge that we now had the power to annihilate ourselves. That single act reshaped global politics forever, ushering in the Cold War era. Let's zoom back in to the personal level. Think about a soldier, let's call him Jack, storming the beaches of Normandy on D-Day. He's barely 20 years old. He's witnessed horrors that his mind can barely process. He sees his friends fall beside him, but he pushes on, driven by duty, by the bond with his fellow soldiers, and by the hope of getting back home. Miraculously, he survives. He returns home a hero, but he's not the same boy who left. He carries invisible scars. Today, we call it PTSD. But back then, men were just expected to be tough and move on. Many, like Jack, never spoke of what they saw. They buried the trauma, and that silence echoed through their families for generations. The war created entire generations of displaced people. Survivors of the Holocaust, with numbers tattooed on their arms and memories too terrible to voice, had to rebuild their lives from nothing. They had lost their homes, their families, their entire communities. Yet, they found the strength to start over in new lands, contributing to their new societies in profound ways. Their stories are a powerful testament to the resilience of the human spirit. They remind us that even after the deepest darkness, it is possible could find light again. When the war finally ended in 1945, the world celebrated, but it was a world transformed. Borders were redrawn. Empires crumbled. New superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, emerged, setting the stage for a new kind of global conflict. International institutions like the United Nations were created with the hopeful mission of preventing such a catastrophe from ever happening again. The world had learned a brutal lesson about the dangers of nationalism, intolerance, and unchecked aggression. So, why does this all matter to us, sitting here so many decades later? Because the world we live in was forged in the fires of World War II. The alliances that shape our international politics, the technologies that define our modern lives, the social progress we often take for granted, so much of it traces its roots back to that 6-year period. Moretantat. It's in our DNA. Sometimes literally. Many of us have grandparents or great-grandparents who lived through it. Their experiences, their sacrifices, their quiet struggles shaped the families we grew up in. The stoic grandfather who never talked about the war. The grandmother who knew how to stretch a meal to feed 10 people. These weren't just personality quirks. They were survival skills learned in a time of extreme hardship. Their stories are our stories. By understanding what they went through, we don't just learn about the past. We learn about ourselves. We learn about our own capacity for courage, for sacrifice, and for compassion. We see the worst of what humanity is capable of, but we also see the very best. We see ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We see that in the face of overwhelming darkness, hope can and does survive. The story of World War II is not just a collection of dates and battles. It's the ultimate human story. It's a reminder that we are all connected, that the choices of the past shape our present, and that the choices we make today will shape the future. It's our shared history, and by remembering it, we honor those who lived it, and we arm ourselves with the wisdom to build a better, more peaceful world. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey today. If you found this story meaningful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the stories that shape our world. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments too. You have a family story from that era? Let's keep the memory alive together. See you in the next video.